The true Indian story and the Indian culture, and I wouldn't have to bring Western actors. Where there's no apologies, we can dance when we want to, we use all the music we want. So by the time we're ready to shoot, I knew it both in English and in Hindi. His commitment to his martial arts and the audience. You guys do bigger than life entertainments the way we do in Hollywood, but there's a little more freedom. Hi, this is Chuck Russell and you're watching Bollywood Hungama.
We have with us Chuck Russell, the director of Junglee. The movie is looking very, very interesting, and he's just played Holi. So we'll talk about that and much more. Pleasure having you on board, Hungama.
Great to be here. Thank you.
First of all, tell us about your experience of playing Holi.
I was blown away. I mean, look, I spent my whole life using colors in films like The Mask as a one, and here's a whole celebration about colors that I was in the middle of. I really wanted to step outside and photograph it, but I was part of it. It was an amazing experience.
Right. All right. Okay, so the promo of Junglee has been received very well.
Yes.
People are talking about it as well. How different is it? Is it an experience for you of making a film in India in Hindi compared to what you've been doing
amazing.
in the past?
A challenge, but a real joy. First of all, it was an honor to be asked to get involved in this project. As soon as I heard it was about these majestic animals, right, and that I get to shoot something that was a true Indian story in the Indian culture, and I wouldn't have to bring Western actors, that's actually a really rare opportunity for someone like me. So I'm sort of a citizen of the world. I believe in global cinema. When I learned that something as fun and silly as The Mask communicated so well, I realized I wasn't just an optimist or a dreamer, that we're all the same, that we all respond to these. We're all heroes inside. We all have a love of comedy and dance, particularly in Indian cinema. So I thought, finally, I can make a true Indian film where there's no apologies. We can dance when we want to. We use all the music we want. But it's in such a great cause to show about our human relationship with these magnificent elephants.
Right. What about the language?
Oh, the language part was great. I mean, look, it was an experiment, but I knew the approach I would take. We got to write the screenplay in English. And I rehearsed with my actors in English, who were so gracious. I come from theater, so we're even doing improvisations and everything until we really learned the characters. And then we had our great Hindi writers come in for translations. And even that was a process until we got all the characters right and all the feelings right. So by the time we're ready to shoot, I knew it both in English and in Hindi. And I was delighted to direct my cast in Hindi. And I think they were quite shocked that I could catch them sleeping. Because I don't know Hindi, but I know those scenes, of course. And I knew their emotions from our rehearsals. And maybe I don't know if I have a knack for it, or it's just everyone's kind of sending me so much support. It was easy to do.
The first thing that I noticed when I watched the promo was the camera work. I think it's simply outstanding.
Thank you very much.
You've captured Thailand, the location. I think it's looking sensational.
India and Thailand both.
India and Thailand, but I'm talking about certain scenes, the forest scenes. I think that they've been shot in Thailand.
Correct. Mark Irwin, who's an old friend of mine, he's actually Canadian. He's the only person I worked with in Hollywood I brought with me. We wanted to use all Indian and Thai crews as part of kind of being responsible to get this right for India. I wanted all the collaborators I could of the local artists. But Mark, I'm glad you mentioned it because I just heard from him today. Mark did a fantastic job.
Right. How was the experience of working with Vidyut Jamwal? Because he's a martial arts expert, and he likes to do his own stunts.
That was interesting for me because you hear these things and you think, well, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. His commitment to his martial arts and the audience. I share the commitment to the audience. It's very interesting because I hear all this Hollywood, Bollywood. We're really there for the audience. We want to entertain them. We want to touch their hearts, right? Vidyut will do the extra take of the stunt for that same reason. But he'll be doing a more real version of these things than I'm used to. So I did learn from him a little bit. I have certain protocols for stuntcraft, and I can still keep him safe, but I had to allow him to do his real thing, which was thrilling, and the elephants were easy. The Vidyut stunts were something new for me to grasp how to stage them.
Okay, and the experience of shooting with the elephant and the snake, I'm sure that must have been tough.
I only took the film when I researched and our producers supported and agreed the choice of going to Chiang Mai where the elephant conservation centers are. Because I can only tell a story that was so pro-elephants if I had happy elephants in a safe environment, and I worked out the safety protocols for our cast. So it was all about having the herd in a natural habitat. I didn't want a bunch of tricks. I wanted the real social behavior of elephants. And I trusted that this could be done. We were lucky it was well done and that we had the support at the Conservation Center. What you see with Vidyut in particular are real relationships. I gave him the time to bond with that tusker. The tusker knows who, by the time we filmed, they did have a real relationship, and we captured that on film.
What was your impression of Hindi movies, Indian movies before you came here?
Very jealous.
Okay.
I'm very jealous as a filmmaker that you guys get to sing and dance and bring the joy like instantly, whereas Western cinema is a little more cynical, and I'll have a studio. In fact, the studio I did The Mask for was a little shocked when they saw the first cut of the film because they felt it was too much of a musical. They didn't want all the singing and dancing, which I said, just let the audiences see it. And fortunately for me, in the test screening, that's what they liked the most. So that's the beauty to me of what we call Bollywood, is that you guys do bigger than life entertainments the way we do in Hollywood, but there's a little more freedom in expression in music and dance, which is wonderful.
So who are the actors that you look up to in Bollywood?
They kind of know. I mean, Aamir Khan, who I think, who's wonderful. Basically, there's a reason these guys are stars. So these are traditional. Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan and John Abraham, who I had the honor of meeting. How about that?
All right, so Chuck, lovely talking to you, and looking forward to Junglee, and we hope to see much more of you in Bollywood.
Thank you.
India as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much. That's all we have from Bollywood Hungama. Keep on watching.
Hi, this is Chuck Russell, and you're watching Bollywood Hungama.